So not exactly how I really expect to start out a video, but basically the transmission, I ended up deciding to put the transmission mount back in it for right now, just so that way it can support the transmission. Only due to the fact that I only have one jack at the moment, and I'm gonna need something to support the engine as well when I take out the subframe, and I don't have like a cherry picker or anything like that. So I went ahead, I put the transmission mount back in. I'm gonna take the wheels off, I'm gonna get the subframe out of it, and then I'm just gonna wait until like my sister or one of my friends can bring a other jack by so I can support the engine. So that way there's no failure or whatever you want to call it. But what I'm going to do too is I'm going to try to set up a time lapse. I'm going to like try to stand my phone up and do a time lapse of me working on the vehicle. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm not gonna lie, that definitely took a lot longer just to get the friggin' axles out of the spindles. All I can say is working without a lift, no power tools, it's a pain in the balls. Time consuming. I don't know what else to say. So I apologize, but we're gonna get back to it. Alright guys, so I just had to stop the time lapse real quick. So there's a bolt right here, one of the bolts that hold on the power steering rack to the subframe, and I basically have been fighting with it for about 15 minutes because it's giving me such a hard time coming out. So I have to loosen it, tighten it, loosen it, tighten it, because it just keeps getting tighter as I'm loosening it. And I don't want to like pull any threads out of the steering rack, in which the threads do look kind of trash as it is. So I'll put up a time lapse again and keep chugging away at it, I guess. Alright guys, so it's later in the day. I tried doing the time lapse, but it was honestly just too much with the amount of frustration that I had with the vehicle. Just because a couple of the bolts were like cranked wicked fucking tight, and some of them were pulling threads coming out. I had to work a couple of them back and forth to try to not make them pull threads out. But basically, for an update, we ended up, I got the axles out of the car. I had to find some wood because that used to be all ice when I first started today. And then as the weather was getting a little bit warmer, it defrosted. I ended up, my entire sweatshirt got soaking wet. So I had to change. But basically, we got everything all squared away. We got the axle out. We got the spindle moved out of the way. The steering rack, we got it tied up for when we do lower the subframe, just because there's nothing holding the subframe, nothing holding the steering rack to the car anymore, and you definitely don't want that to fall out of the steering shaft. It's also tied up on this side as well. And basically, as of right now, I am just waiting for one of my buddies to actually come by. He should be here in about an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. He's gonna give me a hand with actually lowering the subframe out of the car, just because, as I said prior, I only have one floor jack, so I'm not trying to squish myself today. So I'll do my best. I'll try to record us taking the subframe out, but it may be dark, so the video may be hard to see, but we'll see how things go. Hey guys, so it's actually the next day. My buddy ended up getting a little bit busy with things that he had to take care of, so I ended up taking out the subframe last night, but today I'm gonna go ahead, try to take it out. I'm actually gonna have my girlfriend give me a hand with lowering it and hopefully trying to get it out of the car with no issues. But we're gonna, I'll set up the camera so that way you can watch the process. It may look a little sketchy. I don't know how it's gonna go. I'll just forewarn you. I'm gonna try to use maybe like 2 of my belts to, we'll just see how it goes, okay? Alright, I tried to set up a time lapse, but for some reason I think it stopped. But I already got the wheels back off of it. I took out the 2 rear subframe bolts that is now being supported by the jack. I just gotta take out the front subframe bolts, and it should be able to just come like right out. I really don't know why the time lapse wasn't actually being recorded. I'll have to, I don't know, but I'm gonna set you guys up and you can watch the shenanigans of taking this thing out. It's my shop cat, or outside working cat. Keeps me company. His name's Rocco.
Good belt and your bad belt.
Yeah, if you notice, I put the good belt by the front of the water.
No! It really does. It's okay.
This is gonna be your fucking bitch, that is.
Huh?
Someone from the being like right on.
should took it. So I'm pretty sure I took everything else I needed to.
Nora, cover up your arm.
Huh?
Cover it up. It's cold. Yeah, Rocco came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are you okay?
Did you do the other side already?
Yeah, that's what it's supported. For some reason, this front is still stuck. Oh.
Come on, Rocco. Just try to avoid the puddle. Huh? She's saying, waving to him. He's not going far. Mia's up. You want to go in and play? No. I don't want everyone coming out here. It's right
I'll pull it right off. Fuck it.
Get out of the water.
At least it's out.
Alright. Do you want to put this thing up on the porch for now? So it's out of the way, and then when it gets little, you can put it in the house for the night. Or until it needs to go back in. That way no one snatches it off the porch for fucking scrap metal. That would be a lot. Someone with an SI would be looking for one of these.
Alright. Didn't go as planned, but it's out. Put on the porch for right now. So now the only thing we got left to do is the bell housing bolts for the transmission, and there's a bracket that you can see right there. But other than that, there's plenty of room now for it to come out through the bottom. Steering rack is all supported. So we'll we gotta figure out a way to support the engine so we can take out the training mount. Otherwise the engine's gonna end up sagging, and I'm not gonna want that. So I'm gonna try to figure something out. Hey guys, so I ended up figuring out something for a contraption to support the engine so that I can take the rest of the transmission out. I wouldn't really recommend it. If you got like an actual like floor jack or something like that, probably be a better option. Or if you have like one of those supports that you can go from like fender to fender and support it that way. But this is what I got set up. So basically, my place where I live, it's a basically like an apartment complex, 4 units, and out back we have a fire pit, and everybody throws their junk back there for the summertime to burn it and whatnot. And this right here is actually the leaf from my old kitchen table. That is part of a desk, I'm assuming. That is from one of my neighbors. And then this piece of wood I found in my basement along with that piece of wood, and which I needed those because this is the pool of water that I've been talking about. But anyways, I was looking for a jack to use, and I originally had my father's jack in the back of my car, and I looked, but it's not there. So I checked my girlfriend's car, and lo and behold, at first I thought it was my dad's jack because he has a blue one as well. But come to find out, I pull it out and I see the brand name, and it was actually my brother-in-law's jack. So I'm like, all right, so that was a win. And then up here, as you can see, I got a piece of wood supporting the oil pan. This is actually the bottom of one of my old kitchen chairs, the seat part. So we made something work. It's what we do. I'm never the type to, like, you know, give up or not do something just because of weather conditions or something like that. I've actually replaced the oil pan in this car. Back when my girlfriend first got it, she ended up accidentally running over a curb and she cracked the oil pan. And when I was doing the oil pan, it was actually -6 degrees out when I did it in my old driveway, which was a lot easier because it was pavement. Things went much smoother. But so anyways, I'm starting to take out the bell housing bolts. I still got the ones to take out up top. I took the bracket off of the motor and the transmission. I still have that bracket to take off the mount. I started taking bolts out from the bottom. There's a bolt that'll go right here, and then there's another bolt that'll go right there, and then I just have to take out the bolts that are one's right here and one right here as well. Between this one back here, that one came out relatively easy, but the one up there I was having trouble with. It was actually starting to get tighter as I was trying to take it out. Let me just crawl out from underneath the car real quick and I'll show you. So this is the one that came out from the bottom. Came out relatively easy. The second one, this is the one that was getting tighter as it was coming out. And as you can see, the threads, yet again, it was like cross-threaded being put in or something like that. And if you look at them side by side, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Like the edge right here, you can see like the edge of the threads. This one right here, it got flattened and more like spread out. So it was really realistically just a bitch to take out. And I was hoping it wasn't gonna break, which it didn't, luckily. But I'm gonna set up a time lapse. I'm gonna take out the rest of the bolts and hopefully try to get the tranny out finally. It's only been a few days, but I'll set up a time lapse for you guys. Alright guys, I'm pretty sure I got all of the bell housing bolts out. There was like one over here, one back here. I took off the training mount, the mount and the bracket. There was also a starter bolt that was up right there. Let me see how it focus. Right there. I think it's just one starter bolt that has to come out. I think this is the right one. I'm not sure, but we're gonna try to lower the training out of the car and see if it comes loose. When I was separating the bell housing bolts, the training was actually already starting to like separate from the block, so at least that's a good sign. But I don't know. I'll set up like a regular video rather than a time lapse, and we'll see if it comes out. Half a jack in. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure this jack is actually losing pressure. It kind of sucks. I'm probably gonna have to get in touch with my sister or something to see if she can bring by something else to support it. It might come crashing down. The input shaft is actually stuck on the pressure plate. I think we're out of the pressure plate. Rocco? He wants to be a pancake. Hey, bud. Come here. I don't want my cat to die too young. Alright. So here we have a K20Z3 transmission. I did have a clutch put in it because I originally thought it was just like needing a clutch, because the clutch that I had put in it prior to the one that's in it now, it was just a eBay, just throw it in because we were actually moving from our old apartment or old house, and I just needed the car fixed. I didn't have the time to do it there by the time we needed to move. As you can tell, it took me a few days, only because I have like personal life things that I gotta like take care of, kids and all of that. So I basically kind of dragged it out over a course of a few days. But eventually what I'm hoping is the new transmission should actually be here by tomorrow or by the beginning of next week. So I'll be able to actually put that one in. And then this one that I just took out, I'm either gonna bring it down to my basement and try to take it apart and like look more at the first gear and see how bad it is and all that. Probably just order like a gear set and rebuild it. Or if I really came down to it, I may just send it out to one of my buddies, Garcia. He's actually worked on this thing before. He put a clutch in it for me before, and very good guy. He's also somebody else who's like very busy, and you know, he's got his own personal life as well. So it took like quite a few days for him to like get around to like putting the clutch in, but it was definitely worth the wait. He does a pretty good job with what he does. Aside from building his own race car, doing the quarter-mile drag racing and all that, which he's like the K-Series master, I swear to God. But basically, I got the transmission out, and yeah, it was basically the input shaft on the transmission was actually getting stuck right on the pressure plate forks. So I think that's actually gonna do it for this video. I think. I don't think there's really anything else I can do. Other than, I mean, got an oil leak that I gotta take care of. Eventually, I gotta put in a different set of cams in this thing. Because the cams that are in it, they're Skunk 2 Tuner Series Stage 1 or whatever. They were in there from the previous owner, and when Garcia did the clutch for me, the first clutch that we put in it, when he did that clutch, there's also like a bad ticking sound, and it just sounded horrible. It's not like you just threw rocks in the oil. And he ended up asking me if, like, you know, I wanted to diag it and whatnot, and I pretty much, he looked at it and he noticed that it needed a timing chain tensioner, like bad, like last year type of bad. And basically, I'm assuming like, you know, higher RPMs, the timing chain was just slapping around and all that. But he also noticed that I think it was the intake cam, part of it was actually getting shaved. And it's just, you know, I still probably just gonna throw in like a set of 08 TSX cams, because from what I heard, that's like the best factory OEM cam that you can put in these things. So we're probably gonna go ahead with that, and we may not, see how things go. We might end up doing the SuperTech valve springs as well. But well, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.